Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about function notation. So what is function notation? Well, it's shorthand for stating that an equation is a function. Now, it also defines the independent variable, which is usually x, and the dependent variable, which is usually y. So right here we have an equation, y equals 3x plus 1. Another way you could write this as a function is f of x equals 3x plus 1. If you look, the stuff on the right side is the same. 3x plus 1. All we did was we changed our y into f of x. So that tells you that y equals f of x. They're the same thing. Now, whenever you read this, f of x, well, it's read f of x. Okay, that's how you would pronounce this. So what we're going to be doing is a lot of times now, instead of saying y equals, we'll be saying f of x equals. That's the biggest change, guys. That's about it. Other than that, what we'll be doing to solve is when we're using function notation, well, it also defines the value of x that is to be used to calculate the corresponding value of y. So it's going to give us the x value, and we have to figure out, well, what is the y value? So here's an example. F of x equals 2x minus 5. Find f of 3. So if you look right here, 3 took the place of x, right? So that's saying that when x equals 3 for this function, 2x minus 5, what does y equal? Well, let's find out. So when we rewrite our function down here, we're going to write the exact same thing, but instead of our x's, instead of our variables, we're going to put parentheses. And instead of x, we're going to put 3, because we want to know when x equals 3. So instead of our parentheses, we're going to put a 3 here and a 3 here. Now we just solve. So 2 times 3 gives us positive 6. And then we have positive 6 minus 5, which gives us positive 1. So when x equals 3, y equals 1. So f of 3 equals 1. So as a coordinate, when x equals 3, y equals 1, here's how you would write it. Okay, let's look at another one. So right here we have the function f of x equals 4x minus 1. Find f of 2. So again, we're going to rewrite our function here, but instead of our x, we're going to have parentheses. So instead of 4x, we have 4 parentheses, and then we have minus 1, and then down here again, minus 1. And instead of our x, we input a 2. Okay, we input the 2 to find out what f of 2 equals. So inside this parentheses, we'll do the same. We'll also input our 2 in place of our x, and we solve. So 4 times 2 gives us positive 8, and the minus 1 comes down. So we have 8 minus 1, which equals positive 7. So f of 2 equals 7. So when x equals 2, for this function, y is going to equal 7. Let's look at one more. In this case, we don't have f of x. Now we have g of x. It's the same thing as saying f of x, guys. The only difference is the name of this function is g. The name of these two functions was f. It's just a different name, but it's the same thing. G of x means that we have a function here. In this case, our function is x squared minus 2x. Find g of negative 3. So what does y equal when x equals negative 3? So we rewrite the equation, but instead of g of x, we're putting g of negative 3, because that's what we want to find. And instead of x squared, we put parentheses squared. Instead of minus 2x, we put minus 2 parentheses. Okay, so again, don't forget, whenever you have a variable, change it into parentheses. And then inside those parentheses, you'll put whatever number we're trying to find for x here, or whichever number we're solving with x to find our y. So inside here, we'll put negative 3, and inside here, we will also put negative 3. So we get negative 3 squared, or negative 3 times negative 3, which gives us positive 9. And then we have a minus 2 or a negative 2 times negative 3, which gives us a positive 6. So now we just solve 9 plus 6, and we get positive 15. So g of negative 3 equals positive 15. Okay, so when x equals negative 3, y equals positive 15 for this function g of x. Okay? Now, what if we're given a graph? Okay, so given the graph of the following function, find each function value by inspecting the graph. So right here, here's our function, f of x. Okay, it passes the vertical line test. It might look a little funky, but it is a function. It passes our vertical line test. So let's try to find out what's f of 5. Well, I don't have an equation, so how can I put 5 into an equation that I don't have? Well, what does 5 equal? What is 5 even talking about? Well, that's our x value, right? 5 took the place of x. So when x equals 5 on the graph, well, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where does it coincide with the graph? Well, the line is up here, so it meets it right about here. So now we got to find out when x is 5 for this function, what does y equal? Okay, and we count it on up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when x is 5, y is 7 for this function. Okay, so the answer for f of 5 would be 7 for this graph here. Let's try f of 4. So again, the 4 took the place of the x. So when x is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we go up until we see our graph. Here it is. So when x equals 4, here's our graph. What does y equal? Well, y equals positive 3. So f of 4 equals 3. Now let's look at f of negative 5. Okay, so f of negative 5. So we have x equal to negative 5, so negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not here. Here's our x equals negative 5. It went down to about right there. Well, what's that y value? Negative 1. So f of negative 5 equals negative 1. All right, so your code word today, guys, is going to be graph. Your code word today is going to be graph. So make sure to write down this word, and you're going to use that to show that you did watch this video from beginning to end.